You are waiting in line. A stranger cuts ahead without a glance. Your chest tightens. Breath shortens. Heat spreads like fire through your body. For a moment, it feels bigger than you, as if peace itself has been stolen. Most of us believe this reaction is caused by the other person. They made me angry. They ruined my calm. But psychology offers another truth. The spark may come from the outside, yet the fuel that burns is already inside you. Carl Jung often suggested that what irritates us in others points directly to something unhealed in ourselves. Anger is rarely about the surface event. It is about the echoes it awakens. The times you felt ignored, disrespected, or unseen. The present moment becomes crowded with memories from the past. That is why irritation can feel overwhelming. You think you are facing this situation, but you are also facing every situation like it that came before. Anger is not random, it is precise. A red pin on your inner map, showing you where attention is needed. This doesn't mean you must blame yourself or excuse someone else's behavior. It means you have a choice. In most everyday situations, no one can truly make you angry. They can only reveal what inside you still longs for healing. So here is the invitation. Pause, breathe, and listen. Instead of giving your keys away to every passerby, you can reclaim them. From that space, anger is no longer just a storm. It is the beginning of freedom. Hear the sound of a voice raised against you. Notice how fast the body responds. Before thought arrives, the chest tightens, the throat closes, the pulse hammers in your ears. This is the body's ancient alarm system. It has one job: defend. Long ago, this reaction kept us alive in the face of predators or sudden attack. But today, most of the dangers we face are not claws and teeth. They are words, glances, small gestures that strike at the heart of our dignity. A partner dismissing your opinion. A colleague rolling their eyes. A friend canceling plans without explanation. None of these threaten your physical survival, yet the body still reacts as if life itself were under siege. Why does this happen? Jung suggested that strong emotional reactions are rarely about the surface moment. They are about memory. When the present feels bigger than it should, it is because the past has joined it. Anger is not just a flare in time, it is the echo of then. Think of a child repeatedly told to be quiet at the dinner table. Each silencing plants a seed of invisibility. Years later, as an adult, when someone interrupts in a meeting, the old wound bursts open. The reaction is not only to this interruption, it is to every dismissal that came before. That is why your voice shakes, why your chest feels on fire, why you cannot let it go. This is what makes anger feel overwhelming. The scale of your reaction does not match the scale of the event. And yet, in that mismatch, there is a message. Anger is pointing to something unhealed, something in the shadow of your psyche still waiting to be seen. The shadow, as Jung described, is everything we push out of sight because it does not fit the image we want to present. Our shame, our insecurity, our unmet needs, our hidden desires. Anger is often the guardian of that shadow. Like a dog barking at every passerby, it tries to protect what lies wounded inside. Imagine it this way: a stranger bumps into you on the street. For some, it's nothing. A shrug, a moment forgotten. For others, it feels like a deliberate insult, a spark that ruins the day. The difference is not in the bump. It is in the history each person carries. When we believe, "They made me angry," we give away the keys to our peace. Every passerby becomes a potential thief of calm. But when we realize, "This anger is telling me something about myself," the keys return. The reaction is still there, but now it is information, not fate. This reframing is not about excusing harm. There are times when anger is appropriate, when injustice must be named, when a boundary must be drawn. But even then, your anger carries two messages. One about the outer world, "This is not okay," and one about the inner world, This matters deeply to me. Both truths can coexist. Take a simple daily example. You ask your teenager to help with chores, and they ignore you. The flash of irritation rises. You think, why are they so disrespectful? But pause. Beneath the irritation may be exhaustion. Beneath that, a longing to feel supported. The surface anger is guarding a tender place that says, I cannot do this alone. Or consider work. You present an idea, and it is brushed aside. Anger floods in. You want to withdraw, maybe even quit. But what lies underneath? Perhaps a fear of invisibility. Perhaps a longing to contribute. The anger is precise. It does not appear anywhere. It appears exactly where you most want to be seen. Jung often paraphrased this truth. Until what is unconscious becomes conscious, it will shape your life, and you will call it destiny. Anger is one of the most direct ways the unconscious speaks. When you feel the reaction is too strong for the situation, it is not a mistake. It is a signal. So how do we begin to work with this? Start by noticing without judgment. The next time anger rises, pause and describe it. My hands are shaking. My chest is hot. My jaw is tight. Naming the physical sensations helps separate you from the storm. It turns raw reaction into observed experience. Then ask a simple question. What is this really about? Often the first answer is blame. It's about them. But if you stay with it, another answer emerges. It's about me feeling invisible. It's about me fearing I don't matter. It's about me longing to be respected. These deeper truths are harder to face, but they carry freedom. Because once you know what the anger is pointing to, you have a choice. Instead of lashing out, you can tend to the wound. Instead of suppressing, you can express the need directly. Instead of handing your power to the world outside, you can reclaim it. None of this means anger will vanish overnight. It will still come. But each time you pause, observe, and reflect, the grip loosens. Anger shifts from being a master that controls you to being a messenger that informs you. And when you can see anger this way, as energy, as memory, as map, you are ready to take the next step, to transform that energy, not into destruction, but into a source of power for your growth. Carl Jung suggested that much of what unsettles us in others is not really about them. It is about us. He called this process projection, the unconscious act of pushing the traits we cannot accept in ourselves onto the people around us. Picture a projector in a dark room. The beam casts an image onto the wall, but the wall is only a surface. The image comes from the real inside the machine. In the same way, when you insist, she is arrogant or he is selfish, you may be naming something hidden in your own psyche. The projection feels real because it appears outside, but its source is within. Not everyone sees the same film. That is the first clue. Two people can witness the same act and respond completely differently. One shrugs at arrogance, another feels pierced by it. One brushes off dishonesty, another is consumed with rage. The event is the same. The reactions are not. The difference lies in the histories each carries. Think of a parent who grew up longing for praise but rarely received it. As an adult, every time they see a colleague boast, irritation rises quickly. They say, I can't stand people who brag. But beneath the judgment hides their own hunger for recognition. Their anger is not only against the bragger, it is against the denied desire within themselves. Or consider friendships. Someone who suppresses their competitiveness may constantly accuse others of trying to outshine them. In truth, they are projecting their own ambition outward because it feels unsafe to admit it inside. The trigger is real, but the intensity belongs to their shadow. This is how projection works. The shadow. Everything we push out of sight does not disappear. It waits in the dark, showing up in the faces of others. And when someone gets under your skin, they may be carrying a piece of your own reflection. But here is an essential caution. Projection is a mirror, not a weapon. Use it to see more clearly, not to attack yourself. Insight is meant for freedom, not for shame. Just because a trait is mirrored does not erase another person's responsibility. If someone lies, cheats, or harms, their behavior is theirs to own. Projection simply explains why your reaction carries such intensity. It is easy to misuse this concept. Some people, once they learn about projection, turn every irritation into self-blame. If I'm angry, it must be all my fault. That is not the point. Projection does not cancel the reality of harmful actions. It simply adds another layer of understanding. Why does this touch me so deeply? What inside me is being stirred? Here is a practice. The next time you feel sharp irritation, pause and ask, what is this person showing me about myself? Not as an accusation, but as an experiment. If someone interrupts you, perhaps it reveals your longing to speak more boldly. If someone withdraws, perhaps it touches your fear of abandonment. If someone brags, perhaps it reflects your own hunger to be valued. These questions turn irritation into information. Instead of staying trapped in blame, you start gathering clues about your inner world. The outer world becomes a mirror for inner growth. Over time, this shift changes your relationship with others. People lose some of their power to disturb you. You begin to see that their behavior is often less about you and more about their own story. And your reaction is often less about them and more about your own shadow. This does not mean you never confront, never set boundaries, never name wrongs. It means that while you do those things, you also remain curious about yourself. You act not only from anger, but from awareness. And that awareness keeps you free. Projection is not easy to spot. It hides behind certainty. The more convinced you are that someone else is the problem, the more likely it is that something of yours is hiding in the picture. This is why humility matters. To ask, could this be a mirror, is an act of courage. And the gift is this: once you see the mirror, the grip of anger begins to soften. The trigger does not vanish, but it no longer owns you. You are no longer fighting shadows on the wall. You are turning toward the real inside, where real change is possible. Anger does not always have to be an enemy. It can be reshaped. The very flame that once scorched you can be redirected to warm and guide. This is the possibility hidden inside every sharp reaction. Feel into it. Notice how alive you become in the grip of anger. The heart races, the blood surges, the body feels charged. This is raw vitality. Jung described libido not simply as desire, but as the life energy that animates all creation. When blocked, it corrodes into resentment, bitterness, violence. When guided, it fuels love, creativity, discipline, and courage. Anger is one of the rawest forms of this energy. It can destroy, or it can build. Consider a single mother balancing work, bills, and sleepless nights. Some evenings, exhaustion turns into frustration, and anger threatens to spill over. She could collapse under it, but instead, she channels it into determination, tightening her budget, studying for new qualifications, showing her children resilience. The same fire that could consume her becomes the drive that carries her forward. Or think of a young employee overlooked again and again in meetings. Each dismissal burns. At first, it feels like humiliation, but rather than letting the anger fester, he uses it as fuel. He signs up for training, improves his skills, and quietly builds credibility until his voice can no longer be ignored. The sting of being undervalued transforms into the energy of growth. You do not need to be extraordinary to know this path. You already carry it within you. The moment anger rises, there is a choice. Most of us either lash out or shut down. But there is a third way: to pause and channel. Here is a simple practice. Pause, breathe, feel the heat in your body. Instead of pushing it down or spilling it outward, name it. This is energy. Then ask, where can this energy serve me? Perhaps it can give you the strength to say, "I cannot accept this treatment." Perhaps it can help you finish the project you've been avoiding. Perhaps it can fuel the courage to have a hard conversation you've been postponing. Feel it. Name it. Choose. Every flare of anger is a fork in the road. One direction leads to destruction. Words you regret, doors slammed, connections broken. The other leads to creation. Boundaries honored, actions taken, values expressed. The energy is the same, only the direction changes. To train this, keep a journal. Write down each time you felt anger. Note what triggered you and what you did with the energy. Did you explode? Did you bury it? Or did you shape it into something useful? Over time, you will see patterns. You will discover that anger is precise, never random. It arrives exactly where your deepest values live. Think of the last time you were furious. Was it about disrespect, injustice, being overlooked? These are not accidents. Anger points to the places where your soul says, "This matters." And when you learn to hear that signal, anger becomes less of a prison and more of a compass. Transformation does not mean you will never feel angry again. It means that each time you do, you will recognize the hidden gift, energy waiting for direction. No longer will anger rule you. It will serve you. And once you learn to shape anger into inner power, you discover another freedom, the ability to step back, to detach, to remain steady even when the storms of others rage around you. When you begin to channel anger instead of being ruled by it, something new becomes possible. You realize you don't need to fight every battle. You don't need to pick up every hook. There is another option, to step back, to witness, to remain free. Detachment is often misunderstood. Some think it means coldness, indifference, shutting down the heart. But true detachment is not distance from life. It is freedom inside life. It is the ability to care deeply without being captured by the storms of others. Jung described individuation as becoming whole, moving beyond the masks we wear to survive in society. These masks, what he called the persona, are fragile. When someone insults the mask, we feel crushed. But when you know yourself beyond the mask, insults lose their sting. You no longer collapse when someone questions your role, your title, your image. You stand in something deeper. Imagine a colleague snapping at you in a meeting. Without detachment, you take it personally. They disrespected me. The heart pounds, the urge to lash back rises. But with detachment, you pause. You notice their tone is sharp, yes, but behind it is exhaustion, fear, maybe shame. You see their storm without letting it become yours. Detachment is the practice of shifting frames. From "they are attacking me" to "they are revealing themselves." From "I must fight back" to "I can stay grounded." This does not mean you ignore bad behavior. It means you respond without surrendering your peace. Picture clouds drifting through the sky. Thoughts, emotions, outbursts, they come and go. You can chase them or you can watch them pass. Metacognition, the ability to notice your own mind, is what creates this space. You are no longer trapped inside every reaction. You can step outside and watch. Here is a simple illustration. Imagine someone yelling at you, "I can't believe you always do this." Instead of yelling back, you breathe and reply, "I want to hear you. I'm open to talk at 3 o'clock. I'm not available for shouting." Boundary stated. No heat, just clarity. This is detachment in action. Care with a clear spine. Detachment also shows up in daily life. Think of driving in traffic. Someone cuts you off, horn blaring. Without detachment, the story spins. They disrespected me. They tried to dominate me. With detachment, another lens opens. They are rushing, maybe scared, maybe careless. This is about them, not me. You breathe, and peace returns. Or in family life, a teenager slams the door. The easy reaction is to slam back with words. Detachment notices the behavior, but sees the pain beneath it. You can respond firmly, "I love you, but this behavior is not okay," without carrying their storm inside your chest. This is not about letting people walk over you. It is about protecting your inner ground. With detachment, you still set boundaries, but you do it from calm rather than chaos. You hold your center while holding others accountable. Jung suggested that when we stop projecting our shadow onto others, we reclaim pieces of ourselves. Detachment is part of this reclamation. It is the art of saying, "I see your storm, but I will not let it drown me. I choose stillness over reactivity." Over time, this practice transforms your presence. You walk into tense situations that once rattled you and notice that you are steadier. People argue, complain, provoke, and you stay anchored. You see clearly that their outburst belongs to them. Your peace belongs to you. And in that stillness, another dimension quietly opens. Detachment is not just about avoiding anger. It is about discovering a deeper strength, the strength to rest in silence, to witness without losing yourself, to meet life with clarity instead of compulsion. When you no longer need to fight every battle, when you stop giving every passerby the keys to your peace, a deeper possibility appears. It is the possibility of stillness. Stillness is not the absence of feeling. It is not numbness, not indifference. True stillness is presence. It is the quiet strength of being rooted, even as storms rage around you. It is the awareness that life will always bring triggers, but you do not have to be carried away by each one. Carl Jung often suggested that real wholeness comes not by denying the dark, but by embracing it. Anger, jealousy, fear, these are not flaws to erase, but parts of the human story to integrate. When you face what you once avoided, something remarkable happens. A calm center begins to grow inside. Picture a lake at dawn. When anger rules, the waters are stormy. Every insult, every glance creates ripples that distort the surface. But when stillness is cultivated, the waters settle. Ripples may come, but they no longer control the whole lake. Beneath the surface, everything is steady. Stillness gives you a new way of seeing. The colleague's complaint is not a personal attack. The stranger's glare is not proof of your failure. Each event passes through you like wind through an open field. You feel it, but you are not defined by it. This state has been honored in many traditions. In meditation, prayer, and contemplative practice, stillness is seen as the ground of wisdom. Jung echoed this in his idea of individuation, becoming whole by integrating every part of the psyche until nothing inside needs to fight for control. How can you begin? Start with awareness. When anger rises, notice without judgment. Say silently, "This is anger. This is energy." Breathe into the sensation. Place a hand over your heart if it helps. With each breath, let the fire settle, not by force, but by acceptance. Writing can deepen this process. Keep a notebook. Each time you are triggered, write down the event, your reaction, and what it might reveal about your inner world. Over time, you will see the pattern. Anger comes not to destroy, but to signal. Spiritual stillness does not mean never acting. It means acting from clarity rather than compulsion. You may still set boundaries, you may still say no, but you do it with calm authority instead of reactive heat. And here is an important reminder. If your anger is tied to deep trauma or past harm, stillness is not a solo sport. You deserve support. A trusted friend, a therapist, a community of care. Bring them into the room with you. Healing does not need to be walked alone. With practice, you discover a profound freedom. People may still shout, criticize, dismiss, but your soul stands like a mountain. Winds may swirl, rains may fall, but the mountain does not bow. In this space, anger becomes less of a tyrant and more of a teacher. It reminds you of what matters, but it no longer drags you into chaos. Stillness lets you hear the lesson without losing yourself in the storm. And once you touch this stillness, you know, no one can take your peace. It belongs to you. It has always belonged to you. What you have walked through is not just a theory, it is a path. Anger is no longer only the enemy that robs your peace. It is a messenger, a compass, a mirror. It shows you the wounds that still ache, the values that matter, the energy waiting for direction. Jung often reminded us, in many ways, that the work of the soul is to bring what is hidden into the light. And anger is one of the clearest signals from the hidden world within. Instead of fearing it, you can learn to listen. Instead of being ruled, you can reclaim authorship of your story. This does not mean you will never feel irritation again. You will. But the difference is profound. When you pause, breathe, and observe, the grip loosens. When you channel the energy instead of exploding or burying it, you grow stronger. When you detach from the storms of others, you remain steady. And when you cultivate stillness, you discover a freedom no one can take away. So let this be your reminder: anger is not random. It is precise. Each flare marks a place in your inner map that deserves attention. Do not let anger choose your story. Let it fuel your becoming. Take one slow breath with me now. In through the nose. Hold gently. And out through the mouth. Feel how even in this small pause, peace returns. That peace is yours to keep. It has always been waiting within you.